Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of MHEDA Talks. My name is Katie Richards, and today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Chief Research Officer Tim Dawson. Tim Dawson is the Chief Research Officer at Interact Analysis, and MHEDA is thrilled to announce our new partnership with Interact Analysis. So, Tim, tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you, Katie. Pleasure to be with you and your listeners.
Excellent. And we're happy to have you. And for those who may not be familiar with Interact Analysis, can you give us a brief overview of who you are and what your company does?
Absolutely. So yeah, Interact Analysis, we are a technology market intelligence provider. We have a really strong focus on robotics and warehouse automation related topics, industrial automation and commercial vehicle markets. So we provide market insight, market intelligence, market data for companies active in those markets. We do a lot of work to support associations across those fields and really support manufacturers, distributors, integrators across all aspects of the value chain in those core sectors for us. So really anything from market sizing efforts through to voice of market type work, sentiment surveying like we're going to be talking about shortly, but then also we do a lot of customized work for vendors active in those spaces as well, which really could be anything to do with market intelligence or sort of M&A activity, due diligence. Lots of ways that we support the industry, but always with a very strong focus on those three core areas. So very much aligned with the MHEDA membership in terms of our coverage.
Absolutely. I mean, market data, especially in our industry, is something our MHEDA members are always looking for from market data or business intelligence. And you mentioned the sentiment analysis and really understanding, what is the voice of the marketplace? What is the sentiment? So tell me a little bit, what exactly is a sentiment analysis and why is it important, in your opinion, for the material handling industry?
Good question. So the sentiment survey that we're going to be working on with MHEDA is really designed to address, member sentiment around core topics, around understanding attitudes right now towards new orders, things like backlog of orders, how those are changing over time. So it's designed to be a really quick and easy survey for people to fill in that supports hopefully a quick and timely understanding of how the industry is feeling at a given point in time. And obviously what we're planning to do is to release these surveys and the results to these surveys every quarter, so you get this ongoing view of how you perceive sentiment for these different factors to have been over the last 3 months, what your members' sentiment is, an expectation for the next 3 months, and then we effectively compile and consolidate these results on a rolling quarterly basis, so we can start to see how sentiment and attitude towards really these important factors that are impacting the market, how that is changing over time. And really just like the view of members at a given point in time. So
like a general feeling. And I think when I first met you and Interact, talking about it's really the general sentiment or the general feeling that a member is saying, hey, I think orders are up, orders are down, head counts up, head counts down. Lead times are up, lead times are down. And I think that's a really important distinction to make, because a lot of our members are used to some of our other surveys that do require you to sift through financial information and plug in exact numbers. So I just want to reiterate, with the sentiment survey, are you up, are you down, or are you about the same? And that's why it's such a quick survey, because it's more of like a gut check, a sentiment, a feeling.
Correct. And the way that we'll end up presenting these results, so it's obviously any feedback that your members give is completely confidential. It's really there's no confidential information being asked for. In effect, it is just this sort of gut feel for different factors at a point in time. It's designed to be super quick to fill in, so literally it will be less than 5 minutes for people to complete these surveys each quarter. And I think, it's one of the nice things about the survey is we'll be asking about obviously the type of company that is responding. Within the ultimately the end results that we'll be presenting, there'll be a short report that we publish each quarter, but then also some interactive dashboards that really allow companies to filter on the type of company that has responded. So what you'll be able to see, which will be quite neat, is how dealers and distributors of industrial trucks feel relative to manufacturers of storage and sortation solutions, and see if there's differences there in sentiment and feeling at a given point in time. So across those different groups of members that you have, it'll be quite nifty and neat to see the variance and differences that maybe exist there. So
yeah, that's a great point. And, our three distinct business communities, which, members here know, but I'll reiterate it for our conversation, is that forklift dealer or manufacturer, storage and handling distributor or manufacturer, and then our systems integrators and any of their, partners that come along with that. And so some of our members play in all three areas, and while others are, very specific. And so I agree. I think, that'll be interesting to see the variance between different business communities within MHEDA. And, these three communities, all MHEDA members are pretty accustomed to our economic reports that we have that's on a quarterly basis. And from that, the economic reports are helping them understand certain market conditions more from like a customer perspective. They're trying to understand our raw materials, how are they trending? And there's a bunch of different, food and bev, transportation. They're looking at different industries. How do you think the sentiment data is going to help complete that picture of quarterly data that they receive?
I think like the way we ask the questions, it's quite nice in terms of allowing like a short-term look back on the last 3 months, this look forward on the coming 3 months. And then we actually do also ask, as I say, every quarter for an expectation for the next 12 months in terms of overall growth for the industry, or expectation for changes as it relates to new orders or headcount or product lead times. And I think it just gives this timely insight into those different metrics, and as I say, this index of how those are changing over time will be ultimately very, 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 very interesting in terms of appreciation for how those things change. And then alongside that, one of the core questions that we ask at the end is also around kind of the biggest challenge that the company or organization is facing at this sort of current time. And often, I mean, this is phrased as more of an open question. And I think what we often get when we're doing this type of sentiment analysis is some interesting additional context, kind of above and beyond those core categories that we're talking about. It gives some extra detail and nuance in the results around kind of more timeliness around those biggest challenges at a particular point in time. So that's one other aspect that I think is really interesting and helpful.
Absolutely. I know companies are always seeking more data, and this is only going to complement, some of the data that we do try to provide, or any of the data they get access to throughout the year. You kind of already talked about this, but how can leaders use sentiment data to make better business decisions?
I think what it allows for first and foremost is a kind of a sanity check and a comparison of kind of your own company's performance relative to the rest of the market. So first and foremost, you'll be able to compare your gut feel and expectations for these different things and assess that alongside the broader combined industry feeling at a point in time. And I think that's really the biggest thing. So it's not a complicated difficult survey to fill in. It very much is a kind of a quick hit view of the market to allow members and executives an understanding of, as I say, that consolidated sentiment expectation for the industry right now. Gives you that neat backward-looking view, but then also this perception of how the next period will be for a business. So you get a sense of whether things are improving or starting to improve, or as I say, ultimately remain the same, or perhaps getting worse at a point in time. So yeah.
Yeah, and also knowing that those that are responding to the sentiment survey are all MHEDA members, and from an association standpoint, especially MHEDA, everyone's or material handling, it's very close knit of a community, and especially if you're going, like many people were just at the MHEDA convention a few months ago, and those are the peers that you would like to ask these type of questions. And so I'm reiterating that those are who's going to be filling out this survey are your peers, your competitors, your friendly competitors. So that's really helpful. I think everyone is going to get a good idea of what to expect with the sentiment survey. And could you share what are the key topics that we're going to be asking about? We had talked a little bit about there's lead times, inventory. What were the topics that we're planning to talk about? Can you share them?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think there are 10 topics overall. So looking at new orders and so orders from new and existing customers. So an expectation of orders going ahead, backlog of orders. So an understanding and appreciation of whether those are increasing or decreasing at a given point in time. The sales cycle, looking at the aspects of whether those are becoming longer or shorter as time goes on. Deal size is another aspect of things that we're looking at. And then more around lead times, headcount, and sort of retention of staff. So more around the ability to service your customers, the speed at which you can support people potentially, and then ultimately the staffing and expectation for future headcount. Is the business and the opportunity for new staff growing, declining at a point in time, and then how easy.
Well, I have one more question for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. But I know a lot of MHEDA members are gonna get a lot of value out of Interact Analysis as a partner with MHEDA, from the sentiment survey, and the world is our oyster from there. So if there's one thing that you'd like MHEDA members to know before they receive the survey invitation in July to complete the sentiment survey, what's one thing that you'd like to let them know?
Just to reiterate what I touched upon already, is that the survey is designed to be super quick for people to fill in, super easy. There's no challenging expectation to get reporting of financials or anything like that. It's really just your gut feel for how the business is performing with regard to those different factors that I mentioned just now. Any kind of insights and input that you provide will be kept completely confidential and only ever consolidated with other and all the other members' inputs as well. So that confidentiality is really important. hopefully will be a really valuable tool that companies can benefit from, and you get to see some nice thoughts and results around expectation around sentiment and trends looking ahead. So
excellent. We're excited to work with you. I know members will be excited to have the results, and we appreciate your expertise in guiding us to figure out what are, those topics and questions, and how do we bring the most value to MHEDA members. So thank you so much, Tim, and thank you for your time today. We look forward to working with you more, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Katie. We really appreciate the opportunity, and look forward to supporting the MHEDA membership and answering any questions that you members may have as we go along. So thanks again.
Excellent. And actually, one last thing to let MHEDA members know, if you haven't already, the MEO report, which is an Interact report that we now have available on the MHEDA website, is also available on a quarterly basis. This isn't the survey, this isn't the sentiment, but more as an FYI, if you haven't been checking out the MEO report, it is available to you as a free member benefit, compliments of Interact analysis, more data, more reporting for you to help make better business decisions. So thank you again, Tim, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.